description, the 2 links in the description are what I posted this morning and the ensuing conversation that I've had afterwards with that. And just the conversations that have come by me today with who I believe is Geo Farnsworth. And I also got an email from Thomas Schoenberger. But it's hard to know where to begin. Even though the conversation with Geo was much longer, I'll start with what happened with Thomas Schoenberger and I. Thomas Schoenberger wants to everyone to think that because I'm involved with this is because I'm angry with my dad. And that, which is what he said in the email. And that in and of itself is deceptive, because one, I wasn't mad at my dad when he died. I'm not mad at him now. But 2, he wants to direct it away because my dad is dead and has been for many years. And he does not want anyone to think, what he doesn't want anyone to focus on is my stepmother, Joanne, who was alive and helping my dad when he was murdering little boys. And Joanne is heavily involved in it. And so, and if I hated anybody, it would be her. You know, she's my primary abuser. But he continuously wants to focus on my dead dad. I don't think he's ever once even mentioned ever my stepmother, who's still alive, and was heavily involved with the Ricky Chaddick case. She was heavily involved with all of it. And her 2 kids were living in that house as well, with the soundproof garage, and Robbie having caskets lining every wall in his room with little child dolls in them. It was bizarre. Yes, he's all tattooed from what I understand, and a band player, but things were fucked up in that house. And Thomas Schoenberger wants to focus away and not let anybody else think about my stepmother, Joanne Shurter, who's still alive and was heavily involved with my dad killing kids. So every time, and Thomas bitches, oh, take me off the email list. Oh, you're sending me, because Johnny Depp would send me emails. I would reply to the emails of Johnny Depp, and he had Thomas in his little thing. And so Thomas was getting all the emails. So I took Thomas out of the email. And now Thomas is emailing me because obviously he wants my fucking emails. And there's not 20 people in here. They're botting the thing because they know what I'm going to talk about. Geo, as Hydra's anus, it's another proton male. He has a zillion of them. Started emailing me and telling me that he's trying to say that Alex and George are figments of my imagination, and they're not living on each side of me, and they're not my neighbors. And there's several reasons why he was trying to do that today. One, he was trying to bait me, because he was just like, I can't believe that there are no videos of them on camera. They don't exist. There's no way to block him. He just sets up another fucking email. He has 5 Proton emails that I know of right now, and they just change all the time. There is no blocking. There is no blocking. And when I did block Thomas Schoenberger, but the whole thing about it is that Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd murdered my friend Owen. That's just, or they murdered my friend Owen. Why would I get a new email? The whole thing about it is that they need to be investigated. And by their own conversations, people are going to see that there's something there just by the conversations today. Just by the conversations today. Obviously, there's smoke in what I've been saying. And so, first of all, They want to pretend that they don't know who Alex and George are. But what the conversation showed me is they are concerned because if anybody looks at the communications, they're going to find communications between Alex and George and Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth. They're going to find that, that place. I'm not. The whole thing about it is that I have authorities going on and investigating. Dude, you're jumping into this conversation not really knowing what you're talking about. This hasn't been an ongoing thing. What I am exposing is a satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation. And the people that are fighting with me that I'm showing through their own conversations are part of that satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. When I say that I'm trying to investigate a neo-Nazi, satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation, and your reply is, so what? You're blocked. Go fuck yourself, dude. But Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd bragged about murdering my friend Owen. Daniel Dowd, as Pootie Twang, posted live videos of my town, and I live in small town Iowa, right when my friend Owen was dead, or died, ended up dead. Geo Farnsworth was posting on YouTube that he was in Harlan. So they wanted me to know that they were in Harlan, and I know that Daniel Dowd was Pootie Twang. And so I think that the only thing I can assume is that Geo was drunk today. Because the shit that he was talking about, first of all, he tried to tell me that Pootie Twang, they posted all those live videos of my town, was the murderer they just busted in Philadelphia, who just murdered 3 people. Hey, Aussie. I'm trying to expose a satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation. My parents were involved with it. My dad and my stepmother were murdering little kids when I was growing up, and even after I left home, they were still murdering kids. And I've been trying to expose it. And there's several murders that are involved. Isaac Cappy, who was trying to expose the Hollywood. I was in Omaha, Nebraska when I was a kid. I'm now in Iowa. The stuff that I was involved with is commonly known as the Franklin credit stuff. But even then, not much of the truth is out there. But I grew up in Omaha. Was all involved with all of this stuff when I was born, up to the age of 10. Then when I went back to Omaha, because I lived with my dad, and when I went, there's a whole long thing. There was a murder there. Child abductions. Hey, Mika. So, Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth. Then he wanted to say that there were several Pootie Twangs, and he knew exactly who every Pootie Twang was. And he didn't like the fact that I told him, dude, if you know this dude who just got arrested for murdering 3 people in Philadelphia, and you know in Omaha, yes, in Omaha, Nebraska. If you knew this, did you know that he was a murderer? And why are you involved with someone who's a murderer so well that you're just, the whole conversation was surreal and bizarre. And he was trying to bait me to send him videos, because I have videos of George harassing the shit out of me. I sent him to the cops. The day that he fucking stood outside my house for an hour and a half, pacing back and forth. But he, they obviously exist. But what they're trying to do is just distract and discombobulate. And they murdered my friend Owen Wingert and I would have never known had they not bragged about it. And the fact that they murdered my friend and then had the balls to actually brag about it to me, I'm not going to let that go. I'm not going to let it go. And during the time, those of you who know me and know that I've talked about the murder of Owen Wingert, there was a dude who seemed to be coordinating the whole thing, and I've always believed that it was Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You know? But they're trying to bring up the situation that happened 13 years ago in Walmart when they sicked this kid on me. And I was not scoping out a 12-year-old. I don't think he was 12 years old. He had to have been 15. You know, pushing around a half a cart of food, and every single aisle I showed up in, he would show up and was doing things like bending over and rubbing his ass. What 15-year-old just gets the thing? And I mean, it was being done intentionally. It was bizarre and fucking creepy. And as you read the emails, Gio will say, "Oh, it was a crime." There was no fucking crime. The only thing that fucking happened is that it weirded me out. And my friend was sitting at the front of the store at the time. We had just gotten there. Hadn't been there more than 10 minutes. And I made us leave. I wanted to go home because, you know, and told Doug, because it's not the first time. They keep trying. The problem with trying to set me up as a fucking pedophile is that it only works if I was a pedophile. But I'm not a pedophile. And the whole thought just kind of weirds me out. And so I'll leave every time. I'm not putting myself in that situation. So if you read, yeah, the old librarian, she and I had a big falling out. She just went on and on and on for fucking 10 minutes in her office one day. How hot this kid. He's an adult now. I think he's 23. Wyatt. He was 17 at the time. Was a nephew of someone else who worked in the library. And she was just going on and on and on and on. For 10 minutes, she was just, oh my God, he's so hot. Just going on and on and on about him. And at the end, after about 10 minutes, I looked at Amanda and said, "You realize he's only 17, right?" And he wasn't a grown-up 17, you know? And she said, "I don't care." And that's what started the end with us, because I felt like they were trying to set me up again, because they're always trying to shut me up. And the whole situation with Amanda at the library, I live in a town of 4,000 people. And everyone in town knew that I was helping out, volunteering at the library. Do I think that Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross went and talked to Amanda and got her and enlisted her help to try and fuck me up? Yeah, I do. Because if Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross could fuck me up and get me arrested and shut me the fuck up, he would in a fucking heartbeat. He would in a heartbeat. He lied about the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion. That was a domestic terrorist attack. They put a fucking bomb in that gas station and blew it up. Because I've been trying to expose the satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation that's been going on for a long time. Omaha and the shit that was going on and that my family was involved with and that I was involved with as a kid preceded Jeffrey Epstein. But it's the same thing. It was the precursor. And what was happening in Omaha at the time was also happening in Houston, Texas. If you go on and type in Boys for Sale, there's a documentary that will explain. And all of the stuff that the documentary Boys for Sale and Tim Philpott was trying to expose, that's all the shit that was going on in Omaha, Nebraska, too. It was the same. It was identical. It was identical. And happening simultaneously to each other. And that's all the shit. But the reason why they blew up the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion is because they had just murdered Isaac Cappy 11 months before. And Isaac Cappy and I had been friends. He was trying to expose the satanic neo-Nazi pedophile operation that was out in Hollywood. He was an actor in Hollywood. And so, no. They've isolated me in a way that I'm isolated. After they murdered Owen, and then they do shit like, I just had a picture taken at a quilt store because it was a quilt hop, and I posted that picture, and Daniel Dowd sent the owner of that quilt shop here in town a fucking letter threatening to flood her reviews for her store with bad reviews if she didn't get rid of me, and then brought up all of this bullshit that's bullshit, you know, about me. And it's really frustrating to have a dude who has a mugshot for fucking a kid under the age of 12 running around trying to tell everybody I'm a pedophile when I have no mugshot. I have no history. What I have a history of is not wanting to be around kids. I don't like kids. I like old people. Old people always have better conversation. The older, the better. I'm 60 years old. If I was at a party and it was a bunch of 80-year-olds just sitting around talking, that's fun to me. Kids, I have nothing. What do you talk to them about? I don't know anything about kids. I'm not a gamer. Don't know shit about gaming. Don't watch television. Don't know shit about that. You know? I also have a blog that I've had since, 2010, 2011, davidshurter.com. And the 2 links in the description are just today's conversation. And you can go in. There's a lot of information there. But they blew up the Earlin, Iowa gas station explosion. Earlin, Iowa is where I lived. And they EARLING. If you want to know about it, go to my blog, type in this search engine. I think that things are happening. I think that anybody with a fucking brain who actually looks at the Earlin, Iowa gas station explosion, let's just take that. The official report that says it filled with gas, one spark, and it leveled the place, one explosion, and compare that to the news report that was done that day, that afternoon. I'm not afraid for my life. They've tried to kill me over and over and over. They make death threats all the time. I get death threats all the time. But I have faith. And so I'm not really worried. Even if they showed up, then they show up, you know? I'm not going to spend my time worried about it. Faith tells us those who try to save their lives will lose them. Those who offer. I lived in Boston for a while. A very short while. I was in New Hampshire. Who were they? Okay, well, I'll give you the list of the people that have been after me. Michael Aquino, who was my handler. Thomas Schoenberger just emailed me today. Gabe Hoffman, he's actually threatened to I don't know if he did it, contact a restaurant here in town and do the same thing that Daniel Dowd just tried to do to me at the quilt store. And I don't go around. So, Gabe Hoffman. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, real name Doug Masenko. He and I have been at war with each other for Michael Aquino, U.S. Air Force, yes. He was my handler. Doug Mesner, who is Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, MK Ultra stuff as a kid. I have a book. I published a book in 2012, self-published. But when I entered it into the contest the year that I did get nominated for Book of the Year for this. I sell autographed copies of this for $35. If you're in the United States, it's $35. I don't get that big of a discount on books from Amazon because I buy such small quantities and shipping has gone up. So I charge $35. PayPal and Venmo are just D Shurter at PayPal or Venmo, but it's just my first initial, my last name. Tell me who I'm sending it to, and tell me who I'm inscribing it to. However, if you're broke and you don't mind not having a book, the extended version, everything that I wrote about MK Ultra and everything, is for free on my blog, davidshurter.com, in the pages above. Confessions of an Antichrist. It's the extended version of Rabbit Hole. When I wrote it under a handler for MK Ultra is the one behind a lot of the torture that I went through. It's an MK Ultra handle, which was going on at Offutt Air Force Base, which I talk about extensively. Even though I don't make any money, I was definitely used in rituals in Hummel Park. What they were doing to kids in that temple on Jeffrey Epstein's island was exactly the same thing. I'm done. As a kid, yes. That's what was going on at Offutt Air Force Base. And murders of little boys. But I'm trying to expose my parents who are involved. There's a lot to this. What it showed me today was they are afraid that things are being looked at, you know? And, rabbits. What the fuck is a rabbit stick? The whole thing about it is that they don't, and there's not 30 people in here. You know? Offutt is in Bellevue. Bellevue is in Omaha. I was involved with all of this. Kevin Dobson and Dillon. His last name was Dillon. Michael Dillon, I think. They were the ones who were running the drugs, helping run the drugs, along with the Hells Angels. Because there was all kinds of drugs coming off at Air Force Base. If you go to Confessions of an Antichrist and you look at Confessions of an Antichrist, you will see that I have the paperwork, because it was Kevin Dobson and Mike Dillon who brought down Escobar's nephew in Omaha. And then that was how they went after Pablo Escobar. Because Kevin Dobson, you know, they were all transporting drugs. Lots of cocaine. Lots of kids. And this is all CIA. Mike Aquino, CIA. I believe Thomas Schoenberger is CIA. He sure the fuck isn't some little musician. He lies about that shit all the time. But his shit is so outrageous that you can tell he's not a little musician. Pablo Escobar was a bad man. He was a bad man. I'm not saying he wasn't a bad man. I'm just saying that it was a drug war that took him down. And it was through Kevin Dobson and Mike Dillon who brought down, I forget Pablo Escobar's nephew's name, but it's in the paperwork. You know? Boys Town, the Catholic Church, all the shit that was going on in Omaha is what preceded Jeffrey Epstein. And so, Jeffrey Epstein is not the only one. There's I would assume there's a bunch of people who are doing it. The crowd that I'm fighting, let me finish the names. I'll start over. Michael Aquino, Thomas Schoenberger, Gabe Hoffman, Doug Masenko, a.k.a. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, Craig Sawyer, Titus Frost, Ron Patton. That's one kind of group. Then you have the gaming platform, Sewertown, and they're all involved as well. Corey Daniel, a.k.a. Phoenix Enigma, his wife, Alicia Ray, the Sicilian Witch, both of which are completely involved with the murder of Isaac Cappy. Paul and Jesse Davis, who run not only Sewer Town, but a bunch of fetish businesses. One that makes they make coloring books for pedophiles, which I don't understand is how it's legal. But Angela Power Disney is a fucking bad person. She's a bad person. I dealt with Angela Power Disney. In my opinion, dealing with her, she was fucking Michael Aquino's right-hand man. She was so involved with Michael Aquino. That's why I'm on record telling her to go fuck herself. And so she and I haven't talked in years and years and years. Years and years and years. But I've been involved with all of this, for years. So then you have Jesse and Paula Davis, who run Sewer and own Sewer Town. Then you have Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth, both whom bragged on YouTube about being involved with the death of my friend Owen. Daniel Dowd, as Pootie Twang, posted a bunch of live videos on YouTube. Geo Farnsworth, not his real name, posted as Captain Apu, and it's KAPTAIN APU, Captain Apu, all of which you can go see. Posted and said that he was in Harlan at the same time. So they were bragging that they were murdering my friend. I would have never even thought about it until they bragged about it, and now they're upset that I'm not going to let it go. Terry Joyce is also involved with this group. Bad person. Brett Trimble, Manuel Chavez, aka DeFango. Now, this is the group that I'm fighting. This is also the group that was all around Isaac Cappy, right when he ended up murdered. When he was telling everybody that everyone that he was friends with was bad and surrounding him, that's the group that I just named. That's the very group. And they murdered Isaac Cappy. And then 11 months later, they tried to murder me because they were afraid I would do exactly what I've done. It's just that it took me 4.5 years after Isaac died to end up doing it. But now I've started talking about Isaac, and I opened up comments, and it's been a nightmare since then. The second live that I did where I opened up comments and was talking about Isaac Cappy, Corey Daniel, Thomas Schoenberger, Tara Joyce, Geo Farnsworth, they all fucking descended upon me. I didn't even know this group fucking existed. I didn't know who any of these fucking people were. But they were all around Isaac. That's the reason why they blew up the Early Iowa gas station. That was a bomb. If you go to my blog, davidshurter.com, just go down to the search bar. It's on the right. Hey, Susan. Go down to the right. Type in EARLING, gas station explosion. All the information will come up. There wasn't one explosion, there were two, and they were 9.5 minutes apart. There were guys across the street from that gas station the night before, not the night before the thing went off. It went off on a Monday morning. They were there Saturday night, but the place was closed on Sunday. So they were there Saturday night, and we were in COVID lockdown. There wasn't one explosion. The official report in no way matches what was reported that fucking day. One explosion that leveled the place. Then how the fuck did the owner, who was on KETV, say that he got out of the gas station, then went back in and got his brother-in-law and got them both out to safety before the second explosion fucking annihilated the place? He's on there. And I know a little bit of something about that personally, that news report, because I was fucking interviewed. I'm in the interview as well. It was like a war zone comment, that's mine. That's what I said. And people can look at that. And Neil Gross wants to shut me up in the worst fucking way because I know all about their fucking drug operation that's been going on in the trailer park. I bet things have slowed the fuck down. But I think things are being investigated. That's the reason why Thomas emailed me out of the blue trying to say, oh, your dad. It's not fuck. My dad's been dead. But my stepmother's still alive, and she was still involved and can still be held accountable. You know? It could be an interesting time this next few weeks. I don't know if it's just me, because they're just trying to kill me with those directed energy weapons. But, I've been exhausted. I'm just dragging every day and have for weeks now. That's kind of why I took myself out of this whole situation, because it was just, I wanted to get away from the stress. And I have. Now I can pick and choose. You know? Now I can pick and choose. But I think Gio is desperate to say that they don't know who Alex and George are and say that they don't exist for the simple fact that I would be willing to bet they're going to catch all those communications between all of them. They're going to catch the communications. And the things that Gio said were not in his best interest. If Pootie Twang is the dude who was killing people in Philadelphia and he killed 3 people, then he was in Harlan taking videos and he murdered Owen and posted those videos on YouTube, and he already murdered 3 people, so what's one more? Why did he murder Owen? These are all questions that investigators need to ask, you know? But that's the arguments that are coming up. Their arguments don't even make any sense anymore. They're just, this shit is getting old. It's getting fucking old. And it's hard to have love in your heart when you spend a lot of the day irritated, you know? And I just want to say, I am sorry for being late on Sunday. Someone who's supposedly a supporter, but now I do not think is a supporter, because the conversation that I had in email, which I'm not publishing, but I just want to make one thing clear. I'm sorry I was late. I said I was going to be on 3 on Sunday, and I didn't make it until 4:30. But I had stuff that came up. And so I apologize for that. But I just want to make it clear to everybody that I'm not saying that I am not usually in desperate need of donations, because I live on disability and $1,000 a month doesn't go worth shit. However, when you donate, I just want you to understand that I don't want you to donate unless it's out of the kindness of your heart, and you need to understand that in doing so, you do not fucking buy me. You do not demand that I get on phone calls. You don't, because someone donated to me and then tried to shove it in my face. It was the same fucking thing Thomas has done. And the whole thing about it is that I do this because I care. And even though people have definitely helped me out, I don't feel any more indebted to anybody than I already do. And I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel a responsibility. But responsibility and being indebted are 2 totally different things. And it may be narcissistic. I am a victim of ritual abuse. What some people would refer to as narcissism, it's the tool that has been able to allow me to have some modicum of self-preservation because they want to destroy it. Are you familiar with Michael Karkoc, Nazi who relocated to Minneapolis? I don't believe anything that Jesse says Buttar has to say, but I will look into that dude. I want to write that dude's name down because I want to go look at young pictures of him. Because I'm telling you, when I was a kid, Michael Aquino was my handler, but he was young and he had people above him. I could tell that even as a kid. He had people who were instructing him. It wasn't like he was in complete control when he had a hold of me, you know? The conversation that I had via email pissed me off so bad because they basically tried to downplay Johnny Dub and the conversation that I was having with Johnny Dub, which is, I don't believe is Johnny Dub. I believe it's fucking Lucian Greaves. There might be a Brian Word who also has access to that email, but who I was talking to on Sunday was fucking Doug Mesner, who I've known as Doug Mesmer. He has a fucking million names. But, she tried to downplay that, and she was mad because I said I would be on at 3. And she was like, and you just got involved with house cleaning. Well, I didn't want to say anything because it was gross, and I really didn't want to think about it. But I was going to come on at 3. Until my dog had fucking diarrhea all over my stairs. Because I'm telling you, she's never really recovered completely from being poisoned. But I felt I didn't want shit sitting on my fucking stairs while I come on here. I chose to clean the shit off of my fucking stairs before I came on here. This is not a job. I don't get paid to do this. I appreciate when people donate to me. Don't get me wrong. Oh my God, I couldn't make it. But this person was doing the same thing that Thomas Schoenberger has done. Thomas Schoenberger, in 6-week time, 3 years ago, when he first fucking met me, donated $120 in a 6-week period of time. And I've never fucking heard the end of it. I'll tell you, if I get donations, the thing that I really do definitely need to do is go spend $25 and go get some Spot Shot. I have a Spot Shot cleaner. It's cleaned up and all of that, but I need to get the shampooer out. I have a little portable green machine that I've had for years and years, but I don't have any shampoo because I've been broke. But then most of us have. And so, I don't know. But then she poo-pooed the whole thing about being in a conversation with Johnny Depp. It just fucking pissed me off. I told her to go fuck herself. You know? Yeah. They're older. And so, accidents happen. That's why they call them accidents. But I don't want it fucking drying on my... I don't want it drying. You know? And if it... Let me tell you, it's been driving me crazy that I don't have any carpet shampooer. It has. It's... My OCD has just been kind of... But it's not their fault. And so... But I'm sorry I wasn't on at 3. What it taught me was, instead of ever saying, okay, I'll be on at 3, when I start to commit to that, I'm just going to say, I'll be on from sometime between here and here. That way I have, because it's not like it's a job. The world isn't going to end if I don't come on here at a scheduled time. I think that shit is being investigated. That's what I think. I think shit is being investigated. Pineapple. Okay. Since you want to have this conversation, I'm going to just post the whole conversation. I'm going to post the whole conversation. I think that you've been mad at me because I wouldn't talk on the phone. But I don't like to talk on the phone anymore. I will publish that. I will publish it because your arguments, I almost thought about doing it before, but then I thought, don't want to do it. Didn't even mention your name with all of this stuff. And here you are. And do I have narcissistic tendencies? Sure the fuck do. I'm a fucking American. Name one goddamn American who doesn't have fucking narcissism, you judgmental cunt. A stranger telling me about who I am and my life. Don't need it, don't want it, don't care. And the fact that you think I do is just mind-boggling to me. And that's just the way it is. And they don't like this conversation because there ain't 46 fucking people in here. They only do this when I talk about shit they don't want. And I would be willing to bet that Neil Gross, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross, is between a rock and a hard place. I apologize for being late. I apologize for being late. I don't need the bullshit. If your whole fucking life is destroyed because I'm an hour and a half late on a Sunday for doing a live, then you need another fucking life. You need something in your life. Because if your whole day was fucking destroyed over me being an hour and a half late, it's fucking weird. And not the least bit irritating. I told you then, I'm telling you now. I'm not in fucking indebted to you. I don't owe you a fucking thing. And if you don't like it, find the fucking door. Be a big person. Make an adult decision. But I'm not kissing anybody's ass. Because I don't see you wanting me to validate anything in your life. And that's the kind of shit I have to go through on a daily fucking basis with this group. And could it be another infiltrator, Susan? Well, they sent me Glenna, and they sent me Gov, and they sent me Sherilyn, and that's just 3. There's been so many more. So many more. And I just don't have the patience for it anymore. I just don't. I do what I'm doing not because I owe fucking one person shit. But I do feel a responsibility to God. And so I will try to, And am I angry with my dad? No. I saw him a week or two before he died. Thank you, Susan. I'm doing my best. Am I perfect at this? No. And there's no one who knows that better than me. I'm very aware And I'm trying to do my best. And narcissists aren't honest with themselves. I don't need to be the one. Obviously, I don't need to be the one, and I don't need to be liked, because look at me now. I'm sure there are people who are going to be put off. Oh, well, she, take her side. Go ahead. Fuck. I wasn't going to say anything, but again, when it comes down to it, if someone online is an hour and a half late, because it's not like I didn't come on. It wasn't like I even went on the next day. I was an hour and a half late. On a Sunday. And if that fucking ruins your life, then you need to get a new life. Something that definitely doesn't include me. Because I'm a single 60-year-old, damn near 60-year-old dude. I do what I want when I want. And right now, because it's just me and the dogs, it's all about fucking me. My life is all about me, because there's no one else. Trying to expose this fucking satanic neo-Nazi pedophile operation. So obviously it's not just all about me. But when it comes down to it, I spent 20 years needing acceptance and validation from someone. I'll never fucking do it again. Ever. Sorry, Aussie. I'm gonna pray. This is the kind of shit that I end up having to go through. And I've always admitted there's a part of me that's like biting down on tinfoil. It's just who I am. There is a part of me that's like biting down on tinfoil. And is it a derivative of being a victim and having to grow up in all of this fucking trauma and abuse? Maybe. But it's still part of who I am. And, otherwise, I can go on to the other thing and be a fucking piece of carpet that people wipe their feet on. And I'm not doing that again. That's part of being an abuse survivor, And I'm not anyone's fucking doormat anymore. I'm not anyone's doormat. But on the same hand, I don't want you guys to think that I don't appreciate it when you volunteer or when you donate. I'm so grateful, and it has saved me in so many ways. But I'm not a doormat. I'm not a doormat. Okay, I'm going to pray. Because I probably only want to be on here an hour. And then I'm going to put this live with the blog entry that's at the top of in the description at the top of the list. And so there are thousands and thousands of good people. The problem that I have right now, and the reason why I am so isolated, is because especially after they murdered Owen, I was already wary. But now that Daniel Dowd sent someone that just runs a shop in town. It's not like I'm there. It's not like we're best friends. It's not, and then sent her this threatening letter. And so if I care about people, I don't want them in my life. Because right now, the shit fucking part about it is, it makes them a target. And I'm not bringing people into my life just so that they can be a target. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'd feel worse about Owen if it wasn't for the fact that Owen's family was directly involved with the Ricky Chaddick case. And they murdered Owen not just because of me, but because of the Ricky Chaddick case. And so I isolated home. The shit part about it is I like my own company. You know, that's, as crazy as that sounds, I don't mind sitting silently, you know. But it's just, they target people that are in my life. They target people that are in my life. And if I care about anybody, why would I bring anybody into my life that gets targeted? You know? Let me pray. Heaven, I come to you feeling heavy. Fuck, I thought I was feeling heavy before this live. But things are just weighing me down, you know? It's not that I'm depressed, but I just don't have a lot of motivation right now. And the motivation that I do have ends up fighting with these satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking murdering pieces of shit. And it just gets to be a bit much sometimes. And from what I understand, with the 2 huge coronal holes in the sun and all of that, it's having an effect on the planet. So I don't think that I'm the only one. But it's hard because I'm isolated. And so it's hard to know if I'm tired because of their directed energy weapons that are constantly on top of me and torturing me, especially in the middle of the night, or if it's just something that everyone's experiencing because we're at the end times and the sun is inundating us with a bunch of plasma. It's the time of sorrows. And you told us that there would be so much information that it would be hard to decipher what was real and what wasn't. And so we recognize that the time of sorrows is the time that we're quickly entering in. We've just passed the threshold, but aren't even well within the gates of time. And you told us that it will never have been this bad before, but that it'll never be this bad again. So I ask for grace and for compassion and for your love to guide us through this tumultuous and exhausting and definitely tedious time, and help us keep our souls intact and our hearts full of love and our minds directed on you. All glory goes to you and your Son, our brother and Savior, Jesus Christ, who came down to make the word whole and live a life of that we are to exemplify. And we are grateful and humbled by that sacrifice and gift. And it's through his name, Jesus Christ, that I ask for your grace to shine upon us all. Amen. No one will be another mod. I'm not having another mod. I apologize, but no. No more mods, you know. My ceiling looks like carpet. It's an old house. It's that plaster stuff. Tiny rooms. I have a tiny house. It's big enough for me because I'm one person. But it's a small house. Anyway, go check out those links. I will put the stuff for donations in the description. I haven't done that yet. You know, anything is appreciated. oh my God, someone was just like, I can't give much. And they sent $13 and don't realize what an effect $13 allowed me to go get some toilet paper and a thing of milk, which I lacked both. You know, poverty sucks. But I will say I've been poor for a long time. So now that things are getting really, really bad, at least I'm used to being poor. And I'm not like people who have had it all, or, you know, who are feel entitled and stuff, because they're really going to hurt when things go south. Thank you. I do this for everyone. I do these lives for everyone. Because to be quite honest, a lot of times it did hit my own guilt, because there are times where I don't want to do these. I've gotten to the point where I think that everything is providence, and I think God is dealing with all of it. And I think that it's all being investigated. I think my family is being investigated. I would be willing to bet that my stepmother is being investigated for the crimes that she was involved with. I bet that she, you know, was $20. It ends up being 13. And then it's like less than that. It's like $12 and something cents, because they take some out of it. But fuck, I appreciate it. You said you didn't have much, and I told you nothing really, you know. They want to actually come in and say that I'm a grifter. But a grifter takes and doesn't give anything. And I have never charged for my blog, you know? Never charged for my blog. Have given a lot of books away for free. It's just I can't do it anymore because I get charged for it. And Amazon, but I give the extended version away for free. And so, you know, and I encourage people to go read the extended version. It's everything I wrote. Don't get a dime for it. Haven't monetized my YouTube. Don't really have anything out there. But someone pointed out that Jesus Christ basically was just like to live on charity, to give people the opportunity to actually share charity. That's from Jesus Christ. And so I do, you know. The trolls are out. The trolls are out. And they're not happy with what I've been doing. And they're not happy that things are being investigated. And I have a feeling that they're being investigated on so many levels. I would be willing to bet that they're looking into the Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff's Department. I bet they're definitely looking into an Iowa gas station explosion. The insurance companies alone will be looking at that because they paid out a lot of money. And what was reported that day in no way is similar to the official report, which shows that there's corruption around here, you know. We know you're not a grifter. They're trolling, saying that they are, and they use it against me all the time, telling me that I'm a grifter. I ask for donations. I'm quite upfront about it. You know, I live on nothing. And this is a lot of work, let alone emotionally fucking taxing. Just look at what the fuck happened in here today. That was emotionally taxing to me, you know? And for some of you, it was emotionally taxing just fucking watching it, you know? And that's what I deal with on a constant fucking basis, you know? On a constant basis. And I just, this is a job, but I feel like I owe it to God, you know? Fucking $1,000 a month sucks. It sucks. Even if I could do a job, which I can't, because when my sleep patterns go wonky, I couldn't work a normal job. I've tried and can't do it, you know? And, but with that, even if I could and I went out and got a job, look at the fuck what this group does to me just by places that I go to and shop. Look at what the fuck they do to me then. You think if I got a job, they wouldn't fucking harass every job I ever went to? You know? And this is what they do to their victims. I'm not the first. I'm not the only. You know? I just am the first one who has been able to effectively fight the fuck back. They don't know what to do with me because I can fight the fuck back. And do. You know? You're Australian shit. Fuck. I know someone won't mention their name. But shit, your disability was paying for shit. Our disability would have... I just... Fuck. A pool and a house cleaner. It would have never happened here. Should I get $1,000 a month? And these motherfuckers are in here telling me that I'm getting too much as it is. You know? While they're busy trying to take everything away from me. That's the neo-Nazi part of them. You know? That's what they do. And they isolate. And they go after. But that part of me that is like biting down on tinfoil is also the part of me that makes me unbreakable. Because I don't break. What ends up happening is that my resolve becomes stronger. I've said this in the last live or two. The one thing that everyone who's gone through this ritual abuse and all of the torture shit that I went through as a kid, because it may not have been the exact same as what I've talked about, but it was still similar for a lot of people. It's not like the whole thing was designed for me. There were other victims. And when it comes down to it, the superpower that we came away from is our ability to adapt. We can adapt to anything. When I become a doormat, I was adapting to being involved in a fucking abusive relationship. It was just the powers of adapt. You adapt to your environment. That's what they taught us. That's one of the key elements of what they taught us. You adapt to your environment. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done. You know? And I'm going to continue fighting this satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation till the fucking end. Till the fucking end. And even then, I don't think I'm going to stop. I'm not going to stop until heaven gives justice. And heaven has promised justice. Righteous justice. Heaven has promised it. And heaven doesn't go back on its promises. It takes a while, but never lose hope. That's the whole thing about having faith, Tara. Those who don't have any faith, I don't know how they have any hope. You know? Because faith and hope go hand in hand with me. They're intertwined to where you can't separate them. Faith and hope go hand in hand. And I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. I believe in the Word. I believe in heaven. You know? I believe in heaven. I believe in the Word. And I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. I grew up surrounded by Luciferians who tortured and punished me. So for many, many years, I hated the thought of God and Jesus Christ. And so when I was a teenager, I think I was still, when I first started, I had just gotten out of high school because I couldn't read a Bible in my dad's house. But I went into Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and studied it in order to destroy it. And do you want to know what I found? Completely focused on wanting to tear it apart, is that the Gospels of Jesus Christ are infallible. You can't argue with them. It is the way it is. It is infallible. And so I love Jesus Christ. I love the sacrifice. And there are atheists who will say, well, the story of Jesus Christ in the Bible isn't original. There was one that was just like it before that. But for me, that not only doesn't discredit it, it solidifies it. That's what ends up happening, is that it solidifies it for me. If that story preceded the story that I was taught, that just makes it more real to me. That's the way it is. And I'm a pretty smart person, and I went to go tear apart the Gospels of Jesus Christ and found them to be infallible. Changed my life. Changed my whole direction. And so I'm a big fan of Jesus Christ and the Word and the Gospel. I'll be honest, I'm not a Bible thumper because I think that editing has a lot to do with it. And so I think that there are a lot of things in the Bible, because the Catholic Church had its hand in the editing. I think that they fucked stuff up. And I think they did it on purpose, actually. But the Gospels of Jesus Christ and what Jesus Christ taught, infallible. Can't be argued with. Can't be argued with. And is life-altering and soul-saving. That's how it works for me. Only Jesus. I don't go to church. In fact, it's hard for me to actually worship in a church because you get a bunch of people together in a church and then you have politics. And I don't want to be around politics. Well, for the simple fact, I'm so outspoken, I generally end up being a lightning rod one way or the other. The Bible is sufficient. The Bible is sufficient, And my mom, whose life was just a disaster, she was the worst alcoholic I'd ever known. She had a grace about her that was unmistakable, and yet she was lost. But she was the one who told me that she didn't need a church to talk to God, to talk to Jesus. If she wanted to talk to Jesus, all she'd do is, hey buddy, what's up? And that influenced me a great deal, because my relationship with heaven and the Most High is on a very personal level, and it's on a very personal and individual, and for the most part private, The thing about having a hard time connecting emotionally to Christ, I find that people who have a hard time emotionally connecting is because you're not trying to connect to Jesus Christ, you're trying to connect to the church. And the church, I haven't been able to connect. You know, go into your room, close the door, and pray. And in that prayer, always allow room for God to do something. So after you pray and start with gratitude, what you're grateful for, it's all consciousness and it's all a mind thing. And Jesus Christ says to know yourself. So if you want to become emotionally connected to Jesus Christ at the beginning and don't know how, then do what Jesus Christ instructed and let Jesus Christ help you learn about yourself, because you will become connected in that way. That would be my suggestion. You know, besides, I'm old in my back. I can't sit in church pews for an hour plus. It ends up hurting my back. And, you know, read the word, pray to him, and let the world go. And when it comes down to it, let me tell you, it's not easy. It is a practice. It just doesn't come. And so, like anything that is a practice, it takes effort, consistent effort. So realize that if you try to do it, don't just do it 2 or 3 times and say, well, it doesn't work. That's, you know, they say doubt into us. The reason why they try to kill our faith is because they try to kill our hope. And if they can kill our hope, they can control us. It's our hope that keeps us driven, you know? And that's why they try to destroy hope. And I'm not alone. I don't think I'm alone. My faith gives me hope, you know? If they cared, they would have recliners, no pews. There is a church that I've gone to. I don't mind the pastor, but what's nice about it, and I've only gone a couple times, and I've lived out here for 9 years, so it's not like I've gone at all. So Daniel Dow doesn't have to go find, because fuck, I haven't been there in years. But I will say the cool thing is that they have a room that's right outside the sanctuary that looks in the sanctuary, and they have leather chairs there. And that's the church I like to go to, because I can sit in one of those leather chairs and still hear the homily and still hear the singing and still feel like I'm participating, but I'm in a comfortable chair, you know? Never lose hope, you know? The way to separate yourself from the world, I just read what you wrote, poetry, is again, you have to consciously make yourself. Personally, me, this is what I find beneficial. I've taken a lot of classes in shamanism. And shamanism is basically how I use it is the beating of a drum, just the constant beating of your drum, tricks your waking mind into believing that it's asleep. And so it's a way to go inside and experience a waking dream. And so I go into a room, I burn a little bit of incense just because I like the smell. I have a drum or a rattle, you know, because that's more of a psychological getting yourself ready consciously to get into it. So you can use any kind of instrument, any kind of sound, and use it to just get yourself centered within yourself, and then lay down, put a blindfold on, turn on the drumming, and just let your mind go with the focus of going inside and finding God. because heaven is inside of us. And then just listen. Let your waking mind that's tricked that it's asleep have a vision or a waking dream with the consciousness of going and finding God. Seek me and you shall find me. And heaven is inside all of us. Heaven is inside of us and all around us. There's no place that heaven's not. But if you want a place, and you can go get drumming, Michael Harner is a good one, but if you have YouTube Music, Apple Music, just type in Michael Harner. It's nothing fancy. It's just a rhythmic beating of a drum. But it tricks your waking mind into thinking it's asleep. And then just try to do that, I can't do meditation. Going into a room and trying to quiet my mind and make my mind stop makes me panic. It is the most uncomfortable thing. So shamanism is kind of like the opposite of that. Not only do I not quiet my mind, I just let my mind loose and go inside and seek God, with the intent to love more and care more and be more. Be all that we are supposed to be, And this is going a little bit longer, but I just feel since this conversation has come up, maybe this conversation is important because it's providence, I'm very close with heaven because I chose to be, but you have to consider that as a child they convinced me that I was going to be the vessel for the Antichrist. And I didn't want to be the Antichrist, let alone the vessel. I didn't even get to be the Antichrist. I was just like a shell that it inhabited. And so I had to seek out God on a much more personal level than most people have to, Love is an action word. And Aussie says, I sought the truth. Never did I think that it was going to lead to God. It's funny, God works in mysterious ways. And humorous ways. And it takes longer, but the results are so much more spectacular. That's the reason why I would never be a warlock. I would never cast myself. I would never do the Luciferian bullshit that I've been taught, because it's so much better to go to God and ask heaven to do it for you. Being a conspiracy theorist my entire life has only strengthened my faith in Jesus Christ over the years, for sure. And that's true, because we're at the end days. We are obviously at the end days. Everything is conspiring against us right now. The economy, the world politics, the planet, the everything is conspiring against us. We are in the last days. And so, and that's what Jesus Christ taught about, trying to prepare us for the last days, to be who we needed to be, It's so much better to be good. And the whole thing about these satanic, neo-Nazi, child trafficking pedophiles is their lives are fucking chaos. Because they have no fucking boundaries. They just think they can do whatever the fuck they want. And to me, I guess it's because of my PTSD or whatever, I like boundaries. I like being told what I can and cannot do. I like being a servant of God. It's hard sometimes, but I feel so much more stable, They are they're going to be claimed by the dark. The thing about it is that no servant is above their master. And Jesus Christ is our master. And when Jesus Christ died, he spent 3 days being tested in the dark by Satan, you know? And so, because we're not greater than our master, chances are, when we die, we'll end up in the dark being tested. That's why it's so important to have sincere contrition in your heart. Because if you have sincere contrition, you know you have love in your heart. And it's that light that'll help us get to the doorway to escape the dark. You know? That Tara says, it's wild to me to think about people that know Jesus is real, but they chose the opposing side. They're fucked worse than anybody. Because they're defying and going directly against, with full intent, the Holy Spirit. And that is the unforgivable sin. That is the God, heaven does not forgive. Consciously, directly going at, because not only are they going against the Holy Spirit, they're encouraging everybody around them to do the same thing. It kind of goes that way. You know, they're so fucked. They're so fucked. It's hard not to feel sorry for them because they just are so ignorant and don't realize it at all. You know? Jesus Christ comes back with a sword and blood on his tunic. And there is a great gnashing of teeth. And I always ask people, so, especially with this, the gospel of greed, which is what that prosperity gospel is, you think that we're all going to have our cake and eat it too. And Jesus Christ is coming back with a big sword so he can cut the cake, and the great gnashing of teeth are going to be all of us enjoying our cake. Is that what you believe? Because that is not anywhere near the impression that I've been given. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know? That's the thing is that they think that I'm supposed to be sitting here lamenting and being sad about them hitting me with their directed energy weapons and that I could die anytime. But they do not realize. For me, death means I just get to go home. You know? Because this side is not my home. This side is a dump. It's been destroyed. It's been a lot of work. And I don't think this side is home to a lot of us. I think the other side is our home. And so... Right. There's no excuse not to love God. I just don't see the argument against love and doing what's right with your fellow man and all. I just don't get the argument. You know? I don't get the argument against it. Fuck love. I don't want to love. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's so much better. It's so much better when people love and appreciate you. You know? And I know that because I haven't had a lot of that in my life. To be quite honest, I have not had a lot of that in my life. I grew up with a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma. But I will say that to be appreciated and loved by people is so much better than having them afraid of what evil fucking shit you're gonna do. You know? And all of the people that are around them, they all know that they're all fucking evil. They don't trust each other. They don't trust themselves. You know? To be genuine and authentic. That's just it. You know? Be grateful of even the bad times. Because it's providence. You don't know what it's going to lead to. Or how it's going to strengthen you so that in the end, that's why I went through what I went through as a kid. So I could deal with the shit now as an adult. That's why I went through it. I had to go through it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be who I am today. So, okay, I've been on here for an hour and 25 minutes. So I have to get off here, as much fun as this one is. You know, it is exhausting to be angry and hate people. That's the whole thing about it is that with this stuff that I do when I take screenshots and I fight them with it, I am not emotionally connected to it at all. Every once in a while, what happened today, I was emotionally connected. Just because I thought that person was, I was shocked when it went down the way. I was wondering if it wasn't going to go down that way because it was becoming a big thing about me not wanting to talk on the phone. But so sometimes I can't say. Sometimes it does become an emotional thing for me. You know? But it doesn't control me and it doesn't dominate me. And to have anger and strife and all of that shit be the only thing that you focus on is exhausting. My sister Kathy's like that, you know? And I just, you know, when people fuck me over, my inclination is not to go fuck them or hurt them or whatever. My inclination generally is to find the door and just get away from them. And that's what ends up happening for me. I rarely fight back in a personal level, in the physical world. Now these fucking neo-Nazi, fucking pedophile, child trafficker people, they can go fuck themselves. I'm fighting them every goddamn time. You know, I don't ever back down. I think a lot of it was because I wouldn't talk on the phone. It was starting to become an issue that I wouldn't talk on the phone. But, and that was before what happened, before the email exchange on Sunday. It was before that. But I knew that it was going to start becoming an issue because she was already bitching at me that I wouldn't get on the phone. When I told you to fuck off, it was after you fucking chided me. And it is exactly what the fuck I told you, Pineapple. I had to clean fucking dog shit off of my fucking stairs. And I'm not having to berate me because I was an hour and a half late for something I don't get paid for on a fucking Sunday. And I know that it was starting to lead because you were starting to get irritated that I wouldn't get on the phone. After fucking Sherilyn, I'm done with the phone shit. Because Sherilyn is, and Brad, and Glenna, and I'm not interested in fucking talking to people on the phone. I'm just not. I'm a dude anyway. Guys don't like to talk on the phone. I'm much more of a text and email. You know? But I don't want to talk on the phone. And I'm not going to be chided for that by someone I don't even fucking know. You know? And again, it's your own fucking ego because I don't mention your name and you're jumping in, so you're just letting everyone know who it is. You know? I didn't mention your name at all. Okay, well, Smokey was part of the setup with Sherilyn. You know? Sherilyn was going on and on and on about how I needed to talk to Smokey, and we were going to do a program where I had Smokey on the program so he could talk about how he turned his life around and went to Jesus Christ. We were going to do that, and I was being pushed by Sherilyn to do that. But the minute I became friends with Smokey, or even started talking to Smokey, fucking Thomas Schoenberger jumped on it, said he was a fucking gang member and they were going to use it. You said that you were tired. Dude, I can fucking show the emails. It's not like I didn't take screenshots. You know? You chided me on Sunday. You're fucking chiding me right now. You're fucking bitching at me because I don't meet your fucking expectations as to how you think I should be. And you're doing it in front of fucking everybody. If your whole life was fucking ruined because I was an hour and a half late on a Sunday for a live, you need fucking help. Flat the fuck out. I am not the one. And the fact that you're trying to bully me right now, people are going to realize she was trying to bully him to get on the phone. Yeah, she's did the same fucking thing she's doing right now. While she's busy telling everybody how I'm narcissistic and she's okay for what she's doing. You know? Jesus. It's times like this I'm just glad I'm alone. You know? See, that's just it, Tara. I'm at nobody's beck and call. I'm damn near 60 years old. I remember a time when we didn't have a phone. And I tell my friends all the time, first of all, don't ever leave a voicemail because I'll never listen to it. My voicemail's full now because I'm sick and tired of Daniel Dowd leaving me fucking voicemails. And so I just let it fill up. If it's important, text me. If you text me over and over and over, I'll realize that it's something important. But for the most part, nothing is that important in my life that people need to get a hold of me right that second. You know? And if I'm sitting by myself or I'm laying down or I'm watching a television and I get a fucking text or an email or whatever, I'll answer it when I fucking want to answer it. And if that means I don't answer it till the next fucking day, it means I don't answer it till the next fucking day. You know? Jeez Louise. If my existence and what I do is so pivotal that it can fuck up everything in your fucking life, then you need another fucking life. I'm not the fucking one. I don't see it as a fatal wound. I see you as a fucking jackass. And I'm just telling you, narcissistic or not, I don't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself. You know? Dude, you're too old for a boy bun. Yes, I agree with that. It is because of my age that I have long hair. Well, one, I'm poor and I can't afford haircuts over and over and over. But especially in the summertime, I have a bald monk spot in the back of my head. And so my hair is long, so I can pull it up and cover that bald spot so I can go outside and not wear a hat and my head doesn't get sunburned. To be quite honest, my long hair and this bun that I have my hair in, I have my hair in a bun because I don't like it flopping around in my face, especially when I'm doing these lives. Babe, I started talking about it and used nobody's fucking name, Pineapple. I didn't even use your name. Nobody even knew it was you until you started jumping on in here. And people can see by your very fucking reaction today exactly what you did to me on Sunday and exactly why I got pissed. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And if you don't like it, tough shit. You know? My hair is long. Actually, to be quite honest, the other day I thought about shaving my head. If I didn't have such a weird ass head. Because long hair is a pain in the ass. Let me tell you, it's a pain in the ass. But I don't want to wear a hat in the summertime because it makes my head sweat. And my feet don't sweat, but my head sweats. And I don't like that. And it's been 1,000,000 degrees. And so McDonald's fired me. I just got that name. That's funny. I think I was 16 and I worked for McDonald's for a shift or two. They fired me at 16 years old when I was at just the throes of being abused. I was just... Not to mention McDonald's in the other town 15 miles away. And to go back and forth to work, I had to listen to my dad or my stepmother bitch the whole fucking time about how they didn't want to drive me to work and back. And I get it. It was an hour a day that they had to go. Half hour there, pick me up, half hour, or, 15, about an hour every day. And my father and stepmother were not the most giving of people. And that's a fucking understatement. I hated McDonald's. I hated the way I smelled working at McDonald's. All right, I'm going to get off here. I don't have a Depeche Mode version of the 80s. First of all, I come from a family where we were not big into pictures. We just didn't take a lot of pictures. Even now with my phone, I have a hard time remembering to take pictures. And so I have a hard time. So I don't have a whole lot of pictures. I do have school pictures. But like my senior pictures, my dad pissed me off about me being gay so bad that I ended up going and bleaching my hair. And it was yellow. And so I got my senior pictures with yellow hair. You want to know what? I gave you common courtesy. I apologized. But the fact that you're actually going to try and just drive it into me that I was an hour and a half late on a Sunday for a YouTube Live is just... You need help. And the fact that you can't get it through your head that I felt like I needed to clean up dog shit off of my stairs before I came onto a live, it's just, it had nothing to do with fucking common courtesy. I wasn't going to let fucking dog shit dry on my steps. And if you can't fucking get that through your fucking head and let that be okay, then you have issues. And you have issues. And I'm not going to deal with them, and I'm not interested anymore. The door is fucking closed. I'm done. I'm not someone who plays and plays and plays and plays. I apologize for being an hour and a half late. The fact that it actually just destroyed your fucking day tells me that I don't really want you on here anyway. Because that is an unhealthy way of being. Not to mention, these fucking lives aren't recorded. It's not like you can't just go watch it later. Dude, I have sent you emails. I actually acknowledge you. But that's what this thing is. That's the reason why I know that you're part of Thomas Schoenberger's thing. Because right now, what you're showing is, well, I donated to you and you didn't reach out and blah, 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 blah. And it's all about those donations. You want to make yourself out to be a victim and you want people to stop donating. And that's what this shit is all about. And you're just using the excuse that I was an hour and a half late on Sunday. But the whole thing about it is that people who donate because they want to donate. And it's very appreciated and stuff like that, but I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you shit. I tell you what, Pineapple, you're gone. It's as easy as that. And I apologize if I have offended or upset any of you. But if I was fucking for sale, the satanic neo-Nazi fucking pedophile motherfuckers would have tried to buy me a long time ago. As it is, they like to play a lot of fucking games, the likes of which you just saw. Because it's always that same game, that same argument. That's how I know she's connected. You know? See, in heaven I am relevant. And that's the only thing that fucking matters to me. You know? I appreciate all of you guys. That's why I've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes, because it's been fun to be on here today. I so appreciate the conversation that's having. But I don't feel indebted to any of you, and I don't want any of you to feel indebted to me, you know? If you don't donate, I'm still continuing to do the work that I have done for decades. That blog has been since 2011. I published the book in 2012. You know, I did a documentary. There is a audio version of the book. I have to charge for that because Amazon charges for that. But my whole thing is to expose the satanic neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operation. And as you can all imagine, and I'm not pointing any fingers and I'm not saying anything, but this work has drawn some crazy people before in the past. It has. It has drawn people that... I'm not a clinician, I've never gone to school, but, you know, and because I've gone through nightmare situations with it, I am so less tolerant at 59 years old than I was back in my 30s when I was first getting involved with this. You know, not only do I know how to say the word no, I can follow it straight up with go fuck yourself. You know, unapologetically. That's the side of me that I'm saying is like biting down on tinfoil. And I offer no apologies because I'm not going to be a fucking doormat. You know? I'm not going to be a doormat. And so, with that said, I'm going to get off here. That's just it. I don't put up with anyone's shit anymore. And it's hard because it's online to know who everyone is and who they're connected to and all of that. It's hard to know that. And they send me a lot of people. So when I'm fighting with people, it's hard to not just assume that I'm dealing with one of these fucking neo-Nazi child trafficking pedophile operator people, you know? And when it comes to fucking pedophiles, I'm intolerant. I don't like these motherfuckers. Never have. And I'm not going to pretend I do. But again, from now on, if I'm going to go on Sunday, I'm going to say, you know, between noon and 5, I'm going to be just like the fucking cable companies. Between noon and 5, I'm thinking if I'm going to come on and do a live. Between noon and 5, you know? It is very black and white. And that's just it, you know? It's just, it is very black and white. Right and wrong, good and bad, you know? That comes with faith. Because with faith comes discernment. And with discernment, you decide, What's good? What's bad? What's right? What's wrong? That's the key for all of us. Learning how to discern, you know? And there is no gray area. Gray area leads to the dark. That's just flat out, you know? The gray area leads to chaos, and chaos just breeds chaos. That is the joy of being obedient to heaven, is that it's not chaotic. And discernment, learn to discern, that's key. Jesus Christ said the one thing that we should do in this life above all else is know ourselves. That's key. And so, gray or lukewarm. See, I don't even really want to get off here because the conversation is just... I love it when it goes to God. I love to talk about God. I love to hear different ideas about God. Gray is fence-setting. Gray is definitely fence-setting. And the fence-setters, as Jesus Christ said, get vomited out with all the rest. It doesn't pay to be a fence-setter. You know, it's ride or die. Yep. Stand or be claimed. That's, you know, we're either going to stand for heaven, stand for the word, or be claimed by the dark. That's how it's going to work. You know? But you better be there at 3:30 or 3 o'clock. Because if you show up at 4:30, you're going to fucking flip someone out. Ruin their whole goddamn world. It's just bizarre. And I'm not going to apologize for cleaning up dog shit. I'm just not. You know? If you don't take a stand, you'll fall for anything. That's very true. All right, this was great. This was probably one of the most... I mean, I think this live was a roller coaster. This live was like a roller coaster. There was irritation, but there was also just blessings. I'm so glad to know that there are people out there who have the word. Thank you, Aussie. I can be a dickhead, and I always worry that I am a dickhead, you know? And they know that. That's the reason why they use it against me all the time. But there are times I'm just not going to put up with anything. I'm glad you came in, Tara. I'm glad you were here. Like I said, it took me a lot of years in therapy to learn how to use the word no. But now, not only can I say the word no, I can follow it right up with go fuck yourself. You know, with no apologies. Unless I end up realizing that I'm a dickhead and I'm in the wrong, and then I will apologize. But I don't feel like me being an hour and a half late I'm not putting up with bullshit, you know? I apologized. And really, when it comes down to it, to be quite honest, there are people who have donated, but they seek out people. Pineapple, they fucking made videos about her. And so I'm always weirded out by when people donate, if I'm setting them up as a fucking target. And so, you know, my position is not easy. My position is not easy. And it's not that I don't appreciate it. I don't want anyone to think that I'm an ingrate or, you know, but fuck. They're on top of me all the time. Daniel Dowd sent a threatening letter to a quilt store in town I simply fucking took a picture at. It's not like I go hang out there. It's not like I have money to go to a quilt shop. It's not, but Gabe Hoffman did the same fucking thing to Milk and Honey, which is a restaurant in town. Not like I've eaten there in years. It's expensive and I don't have money to eat out, And so that's what they do. I shut down comments on this YouTube for years because I found out they were seeking out people who simply supported me online in the conversation, and they would seek those people out and threaten them. That's why I shut down all of the comments for years, And so, and they just fucking murdered one of my best friends. When they murdered Owen, now I have to think, am I putting everybody in danger if I end up reaching out and, it's just, again, it's a guessing game, and I'm dealing with a bunch of fucking psychos, I shut off comments. People were telling me they would be out in public, and I didn't know who these people were. They were just people who actually left comments would leave comments on my YouTube. And they would call me up, and they were always kind of miffed at me because they thought it was my fault. But strangers would come up to them and then start talking about their kids and their spouses and where their kids went to school and where their spouses went to work and where they lived and blah, 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 blah. And then at the very end of the fucking conversation, these dickheads that were complete strangers to the people that they were talking about would drop my fucking name. So the people were getting a hold of me saying, look, some weirdo knows everything about me and dropped your name, And that's why I shut down comments for years. You couldn't comment on anything because I wasn't going to allow that to happen. But about 3 years ago, in a shamanic journey, Father came to me and told me, open up comments on your YouTube station and start talking about Isaac. And so I did, because I'm obedient. And all hell has broken loose since then. Like I said, Thomas Schoenberger, Corey Daniel, Geo Farnsworth, Tara Joyce, they all descended upon me within like the second live that I did about Isaac Cappy. I didn't even know who the fuck these people were. And they descended on me. And it's been a nightmare ever since. But she poo-pooed fucking, oh, you're just talking to Johnny Dub. Well, Johnny Dub is fucking telling me he's a serial killer and how he's going to kill me. And it's not like these people don't have a fucking long list of dead fucking people, So it's not like they're incapable of it. And I was engaged in the conversation all day Sunday because I was just like, it's like I told people in town, if something happens to me, I just want people to know I didn't do it to myself. They knew what was going on, the events that were surrounding it, because I don't live in a fucking vacuum, I don't understand half of this stuff. And with God, following God, let me tell you, I don't know what it's like for everybody else, but for me, it's always on a need-to-know basis. And so you get told to do stuff and are never told why, and you might not know why you were told to do it until fucking way later on. You're just supposed to do it with faith. And maybe it's on a need-to-know basis, because had God told me open up comments and start talking about Isaac Cappy, but then went on and told me everything that was going to happen, I may not have done it, So with that said, I'm out of here, God directs us and tells us what we have to do. It's faith. It's faith. You know? And trust God. Trust. That's the whole thing about faith. If your faith is strong, your trust and hope are also strong. And those are the three key parts I feel in life that we should always focus on. You know? Faith brings trust and hope. And not only helping ourselves maintain that, but helping others also maintain that is the whole reason we're here. It's the whole reason Jesus Christ put us here. You know? And they've sent me a bunch of fucking emails already. Thomas has already sent me emails. Geo is Shadow Dragon is sending me emails. And I'm not going to answer him until tomorrow. I'm not even going to fucking look at him. I just don't give a shit. Fuck these people. Fuck these people. Let God deal with it. But this has been great. I'm going to write it to 2 hours, so, you know, we the people need to use our God-given word literally. The word to speak up against evil. So thank you, David. Thank you, Tara. I'm just doing what we're all supposed to do, you know? We're supposed to be an example for everyone else. That's what we're all supposed to do, is try to, and I'm just trying to be an example. And when I fuck up, tell me. But also realize I'm on my own path as well, you know? The internet is great. You can get 2 or more people, and they don't even have to be all together all at once. All the people who will come in and later on listen, you know? All right, with that said, this has been great. Today's Tuesday. I'll be back in on Thursday. I will not be doing a 2-hour one. I haven't done a 2-hour one in a long, long time. We have no excuse not to expose them. We are obligated. I feel obligated. Because of what I've gone through and where I stand and what I know with all of this, I feel obligated to God. That's who I feel an obligation to. And I feel an obligation to my fellow man, but that's not on a personal level where people can expect, you know. But from now on, I'll be on Thursday, and it'll be between 9 and 3. Let's just put it that way. I'll be on Tuesday, because usually I like to do 10 o'clock, but I might wait and do it at 3 o'clock. But from 9 to 3, so I'll do a live between the hours of 9 and 3. There you go. And if that ruins your whole day because I don't come on right when you need me to, you need to seek out a psychiatrist or a therapist. Because I and my lives should not have so much control over you. I'm just saying. Neither I nor my lives should have so much control over you. And if they do, you need to question. Go inside. Stop focusing on me and go inside and focus on the God within. You know? Bait. It's bizarre. Okay, I'm at 2, so I'm getting off here. Bye, guys.